You're listening to JW Raw with Eminem.
We are live.
Why, hello, Jackson Wink friends, fans, and family. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have on our show today the infamous coach, Joey Villasenor. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, guys, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for spending some time with us. We know you're usually doing the amateur class at this right now, but the class is in good hands. Who do you got down there teaching?
I got Seth instructing right now. He's one of my amateur coaches. Like when I go travel to do amateur team stuff, he's one of my side coaches.
Awesome. How long you been with Jackson Wink? I know you're one of the veteran guys, but
oh man, from the beginning, shoot.
Back before it was even Jackson Wink. When it was
I think it was about 90, 99, 2000, somewhere around there is the first time that I was in touch with Greg.
99.
Yep, somewhere back, and then I believe my first fight was in 98. And we heard of this team from Albuquerque, me and my buddy Floyd in Farmington, New Mexico. I think the only two pros that came out of those guys at that time was Diego Sanchez and Keith Jardine. So I met them when they were in their first few fights.
So you are literally a first generation.
Yep, first gen.
Team. And we always talk about it, right? Now, what generation are we in right now?
Third gen.
Third generation. Wow.
The second gen, there's
still
some
active.
of them are getting ready to retire, and that's because some of them joined a little bit late in the game. But Diego's still going in first gen,
Sure.
But third gen's coming up.
So you decided to retire, and I guess your last fight was 2012. Who was your last fight?
Oh shit! Who was it?
This
Parmalee. I think it was Chuck. No, it wasn't Chuck
This is a
Parmalee.
tough
It was a guy from Colorado. He had a beard. I forget what his name is though.
Yeah, we won't blame you for that. Joe had like 40 fights.
Yeah.
So
but after that, when you finally decided, hey, I'm done. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. Finally, there's a time in every fighter's life, and only they can decide when that time is. And you finally made that decision. Hey, it's time to hang him up.
But the true fans remember Joey though.
Yeah.
And I mean, you fought who's of who, man. I mean, you fought some big names, man. 40 fights, 40 pro fights, old school, man. No
Been
matter
around a
who,
while,
what,
man.
Where, when.
That's it.
I mean, you fought. Tell us about big names that you fought.
I fought Robbie Lawler, Ninja Hua, Dave Luau, Dave Luazo. Let me see. Jacare Souza. Who else? On CBS, I fought Phil Baroni.
Wow.
I think that was the first time that the sport was ever televised nationally. That was awesome, man. At that time, I think it was the 5th most watched MMA fight in history, just because it was on free TV. It was the first time it was on free TV.
Wow.
So
Where was that fight?
it was in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, for I think it was Elite XC before they sold out to Strikeforce,
Nice.
which then all got consumed by the UFC.
Yeah.
So you never fought under the UFC banner itself?
No, I never fought under the UFC banner. It
was all pre-UFC
offered
stuff.
some contracts, but a lot of people don't understand that the sport's a business too, and I was obligated to stick to that contract. So the UFC had gave me a couple of good offers, but it was countered by Strikeforce, and I had to stay. So, which is fine. I made more money that way.
Yeah, and at that time, Strikeforce was big. You fought. I mean, from what I know, you fought Bama, Dream, Pride. I mean, you fought every organization.
Yeah,
every biggest organization that was as big as UFC at that moment, because UFC at that time was rising too. It wasn't like super duper big league. I mean, it had competitive other organizations, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, man. I mean, to have some kid from the west side of Albuquerque to have these kinds of experiences, like it was something that I never planned on. It just happened, like
because you're native, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm from Los Angeles, California, but I moved here when I was a young kid. So, but this is home to me.
So adapted son of Albuquerque.
That's right.
So you fought some big names. I mean, Misha pointed out just before the show that you and I have something in common, in that that's we both fought Cyborg.
Yeah, I fought the guy Cyborg. Yep, that was one. That was a tough dude,
okay,
man.
I won't say.
He was a tough dude.
Tough,
I'm talking
tough
about
dude. Be very
I'm
careful
talking
which one you're
about
talking about here.
Cyborg, the guy. Yeah,
Okay.
at her time, at that time, it was her husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Santos.
I
Well,
fought him in
Santos.
Seattle.
I have-
and they
Santos.
just recently played that fight on Showtime. I think last month they replayed it a few times. So I had a couple of people asking if I was fighting again because
Yeah.
Showtime will replay Strikeforce fights.
Remastered, digitally remastered, so it looks like it's happening right
There's
now.
one difference between those two. You actually won.
Yeah.
While Mark got his ass kicked.
Yeah, I'm still banned from that.
Still suffer the
Yeah.
long term of fucking getting your ass kicked by Cyborg.
Santos, his real name is what? Santos. I forget it.
Evangelista Santos,
Evangelista,
something like that.
He is a tough dude though, because he there's that picture. It's
There's
it's
a
a viral picture
Michael
with,
Page fight.
with his head crushed in.
yeah.
His skull is.
And then he
literally-
wanted to continue fighting
Yeah.
after that. I was like, man,
crazy.
you know, no way, man.
What the hell's wrong with this guy? It's like,
When
holy
it's in you, it's
crap,
in you,
yeah.
man. You
Yeah.
know?
Don't call this crap off. And,
Yeah.
but
And
that's-
Joe, you fought for King of the Cage.
Yeah, that
For a
was
long time, right? And you've been the
that's pretty
champion
much
of
where I
King of-
started and where I got my kind of what propelled me into bigger promotions. You know, I was a 7-time champ, I believe. I still hold the record there with their fastest KO and
Wow.
and like most consecutive wins. I think 14 or 15-0.
wow.
Wow.
7-time defending
Because
champ.
King of the Cage at that time, they were actually on pay-per-view back then.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that Musca guy?
They
that
produced a
Rogan,
lot of fighters: Diego,
Superstars.
Keith, me, Rashad,
Who's a fool, yeah.
Rampage Jackson. The list goes on and on. You know, it's they were a good platform to get guys there. You know,
Yeah.
It's got to be surreal for you, knowing that you were training with these legends back in the day, and now here you are, retired, and as a fighter anyway. But you're now one of our head coaches, obviously in charge of the amateur program. And looking at these kids today has got to be just kind of surreal for you, saying, "Man, that was me 20 years ago." Just with that thirst and hunger, and I know you're trying to instill in them to keep going, just like your coaches were back then. I mean, the roles have now changed. It's got to be just so cool for you to
it is,
kind
man.
of think back to that.
It's awesome because I can speak. When they share something with me, it's something familiar to what I've felt before. You know, whatever it is, whatever question they have, I've experienced it. You know, 40 MMA fights, you're gonna experience a lot of things. You're gonna have some big ups and some big downs, and you're gonna experience everything. You know, so I can relate to them in whatever situation they're in.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, and on top of everything else, obviously a coach to majority of pro fighters too, man. I mean, you are.
Oh, he's got a pro fight this weekend.
Yeah. You have a pro fight. Well, we're going together to
Yep.
to Yana versus Cyborg.
Uh-huh.
Because Cyborg keeps following us.
Cyborg's everywhere.
Everywhere we go.
So UFC 222, you're going to be one of the corners, which we talked about this last week.
The most powerful corner in the game, actually, at this point. We're talking about Greg, Wink, you, and Tusa, and me.
Translator Misha.
Whatever I can add.
So yeah, he's part of the dream team, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And I'm the photographer. Am I part of the dream
You don't
team?
count, bro.
But the translator
You're
counts.
in the backpack.
Oh, come on.
Hey, Misha, I got
You'll
a
be
question.
walking around with credentials.
It's gonna be cool, man. Like it's been a while since I've been in a big fight corner. I was there for Bones' corner against let me see, who was it? Vitor.
Pre-Reebok.
Yep, it was Vitor. And
So you're going to get your Reebok uniform this time.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
And then I was there with Nate Marquardt when he fought Anderson Silva. Like, I've been in some big corners, Keith Jardine versus Chuck Liddell, Rashad. You know, I've been in some big corners, but
super fights.
that's when I was competing, you know. Now I'm
now you're
a coach. Now I'm
coach.
a coach, full-on coach. Yep.
And you turned to be a hell of a good one too, man, Joe. I mean,
Yeah.
you have so much respect for this place. I mean, if we look at the hierarchy of coaches, I mean, it would be obviously Greg Wink, you know, equally, and then it's you.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
definitely
right after. You know, and
I'm earning it.
No one else.
Coach Wink and Greg Jackson, they kind of left the blueprint on how to coach, and then, of course, them being my coaches. What a lot of people don't realize is transitioning from fighting to coaching isn't as easy as a lot of people think. A lot of fighters think that when they're done fighting, because they know the sport so good that they can just jump into coaching. You have to have communication skills. You have to have a lot of patience, because some of these dudes do just dumb stuff, and you
obviously have to want it, because a lot of people think they have no choice, and that's the only thing they know. They go to coaching. But hey, they always say, you could be a good competitor but a shitty coach, and then vice versa. You could be a shitty competitor and fucking excellent coach, or you could never even fought in your life, and you could be an excellent coach.
That's it.
I love listening to his coaching style down there. He's so clear.
Mile away.
He's so loud.
There,
good.
Yeah,
Good.
I love that.
Those are the positive words, but I do curse a lot too.
Yeah, he does.
I do. I treat the one thing that I stress is when they're having a bad day, that they chose to do this. Nobody forced them to do it. When they're crying, when they're upset, when they're frustrated, the realization of that they chose to put themselves in that situation. So when you give it to them like that, they realize that they're there for a reason. That's because they want to be there, and the landscape has changed a little bit in MMA. Back in the day, you just had a bunch of tough son of a bitches fighting, and now you have these dynamic athletes, and then you got a lot of people that want to be famous, but they don't realize that they're jumping into the most dangerous sport in the world, and they want to be famous in that.
I was going to ask you about that, because that's a good point. You being the amateur coach, it's got to be very interesting for you to see these kids come in here, and obviously we put them through a process just to get in the doors. But these guys come into practice, and you, above all, have seen people come in, and they're here a week, 2 weeks, and they're gone. It's got to be so hard to.
Almost gone at the same time.
I mean, pinch poke. Do we? Is it hard for you to see that the turnover so much, or does it make you kind of proud that you're keeping things where they should be, at a level that it should be? I mean, what's your opinion about that?
I think that every MMA school goes through it, because now there's more flux of people coming in, because people see it on TV. It's so marketable now. It's huge. So there's going to be a trend. A lot of people are going to, and it's going to be this way, and it's going to keep on upswinging from here on out. I think that you're going to see more, and it's going to get bigger and bigger, which is incredible to think for the size it's at now. I mean, USA Today, ESPN covers it. Back when I was fighting, like
TMZ has a sports thing. It's
they covered the most hated photographer in the world.
TMZ covered me, so they're desperate.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you made it. Once you're on TMZ, you made it.
Yeah. That's where the sport's evolving to. It's getting bigger and bigger. So you're going to get an influx of people coming in. My concept is, you earn it. Earn my time, earn my respect, go out there, just come in hard, work every day. After a few months, if I see consistency, then I'll start really helping you out,
I noticed that you don't coddle any of these guys. You treat them all equally in the way it should be, that you're treating
That's what people
tough.
Forget, man. That's what we hear a lot about. People who are not paying attention to me. Prove yourself first. Do something. It's because when people come through, they come into this celebrity camp. They won't take pictures, don't hang out, say, "Oh, I'm part of this," and then disappear. And we see it all the time, But if you truly want to be part of the team, you have to make yourself to be part of the team. You have to prove yourself. You have to bring something to the table. You have to show something. So here, I'm guys here for a long term. I trust you. Do something. Help me. And eventually it will fall into place. People think automatically they walk into the door, we're going to jump on them and say, start babysitting them. No, it doesn't work like that. That's what actually a lot of people, that's what I was going to ask you. What do you think the difference between old school Jacksons and, in the new school that
I think
still back in the day, it wasn't like that where people were like.
No, back in the day, it was You're talking about two gritty gyms that got put together, and you had some gritty fighters, and you had some people that were just now. Why wouldn't you capitalize on where this sport is going? We have the '1 team ranking in the world, and now amateur team ranking.
And we're talking about when Jackson was separate and Winklejohn were separate, and they merged in '92. I think it was.
But now. It's now, I think any other gym would understand that it's turned into a business now. You know, it's not just this the old school two gyms, just tough guys. Now you have we have dorms set up because we want talent to come in here.
Yeah.
We don't know who the next star is going to be. It can be some kid from India that's just got tremendous skill set, but he chose to come here because we have dorms here.
And it's funny. People say business is all about money, but it's yes, but and no. It's
both.
Like UFC
both.
too. UFC is a business. Every promotion is a business. You know, obviously, in order for us to survive and create talent, you know, we have to invest in it. And obviously, if we invest money in it, we have to, you know, it's expensive building, so we have to
look what the UFC did with their UFC
Chinese,
gyms. They're owned by all these different people, but the UFC gets a percentage of every one of those that go up because they're using their name. You know,
BJ Penn has one. Cub Swanson has one.
It's like, because the way I always see it, and Wink says and Greg says, you know, they spend 20 years or 30 years or whatever,
almost
traveling, spending their own money, investing in fighters, and not getting dollar out of it, you know. And finally now, when we're able to put this together, you know, now we have this opportunity where fighters can, you know, since you are homegrown talent, you know, got all these celebrity fighters and so much talent in here. That's why people want to come here to learn from you guys.
Yep.
So obviously, in order for us to accommodate everyone, you know, Wink build this phenomenal building with so many things going on. That's why people have no right to say like, oh, it's all about money. No, it's not all about money, but we do need money to live and survive. I mean, we all need to eat, right? So it's like, it's what
as a coach, I understand that we're going to have to filter some people here, but we're still getting a net of people.
Yeah.
Like, there is a handful of guys down there that came through these dorms that are going to be our next stars, man.
Yeah.
You know, and if these dorms weren't up, we wouldn't have that opportunity to get these guys in here. So
it would be nothing but mostly local guys, whatever, just local gym. You know, now it's a worldwide, you know, type of phenomenon that just brings so many people from everywhere.
Go ahead.
You know, I mean, I understand. I mean, I'm come from the old school, so it was a hard change for me too. But I'm evolving with the sport too. You know, I'm understanding the drive behind this sport, and understanding that why wouldn't people, understand and look at it from a business perspective. The UFC's done it, and they've done a tremendous job doing it. You know, we have the #1 ranking team in the world, and Albuquerque is a beautiful place. Yeah, it's a little crazy place, but it's a beautiful place, and it's a fighters mecca, man.
Fighters paradise.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that.
Land of entrapment. Trapped me here. I came here a couple of times with fighters, and boom, here I am.
Yeah.
You know. And you know, you talk about the #1 team, you know, and definitely, obviously, you know, you've done a huge impact on amateur team, because remember when we started, it was only geared towards professionals.
Yeah.
You know, but we started getting so many inquiries of, you know, fighters with martial arts experience, wrestlers that, you know, don't have martial arts experience yet, they're trying to get into the game. And obviously we started that amateur team, which it didn't take you too long, and we won this huge amateur MMA tournament.
You picked the best of the best out of that amateur team and went to...
You put an excellent team together, which allowed us to go out there and beat Team Arizona, whatever the best they had to offer, and biggest accomplishment out of all is beating Team
Rival
Alpha
gym.
Male. Team Alpha Male, which is the best gym in the world as well, and great competitors with so many superstars.
It came to Team Alpha Males amateurs versus Jackson Wink amateurs, and we came out on top. So thanks to Joey.
Thanks to Joey, man. I remember you had the guys lined up. You had your board and you had names written down. It was like, you step forward, you step forward. Okay, get the fuck out.
I knew who back. I know,
because everybody wants to
the
fight.
Talent is, you know. I know where the talent is. The whole team was excited. They wanted to be a part of it, but I knew which guys were going to represent us the best. You know.
Who surprised you the most on the team when they competed?
Ash.
Me too. I was going to say.
Ash, because he's so young. You know, at that
barely
time
trains.
He was 18 or 19. You know, he's 19 now. Going to have his second fight this weekend, and then if he's okay through that, I think I have another one for him.
Awesome.
next month on the 17th in Arizona. So
Good for him.
What a tough guy, man. Like he barely trained. Like he's like flying in the clouds somewhere. all the time,
he's got so much talent, but he's still mentally, he's still young
of course he's 18.
kid. He's a kid.
of
He's
course.
18, 19. So,
But he comes from a strong family because obviously we know his brother is Ozzy the Golubkov, which is a monster in his own right, for the World Series of fighting.
But the tournament hinged off of his fight. The tournament hinged off of his fight, and
the guy came
and
forward trying to beat
he
him
executed. What was crazy was the guy was trying to intimidate Ash. Was walking by him and talking shit. And at one point, pushed Ash, and I was like, damn. I was like, Ash, man, this guy.
If there's ever been motivation,
How did Ash handle it?
He handled it like a champ, man, like a
Russian, like a cold Russian.
Didn't even bother him, man.
Didn't get in his head at all.
He actually kind of laughed a little bit, like, oh, he's scared. That's what Ash said. He's like, oh, he's just scared.
I love that part.
He's such a quiet kid, man, but he's a good kid. He's very talented too. But
just lazy.
We have a ton of talent on that team.
Let's talk about it. Who do you think is the next big thing? I mean, I know Cooper, obviously, it's number one.
Coop's coming up. We got Keenan. We got Bavon's brother, Levon. Yep, and then we have
most of all wrestlers, if you talk about high level wrestlers.
And then of course Bavon himself, he's 3-0.
He's a pro.
Yeah,
talking about amateur.
And then we have let me see here, Ash. We have a lot like Nick Chavez.
I like Jesse a lot.
Jesse's looking for his pro. Yep.
You know who I loved was Soldier. The guy from Mongolia. I wish that guy could come
We have
back.
a lot, and here's another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is we have probably the best female team put together right now. I have some amateur girls that are going to make some big waves as far as women go.
Who are the names?
Kayla.
That makes sense.
Let me see. Bree from Hawaii. And
that's funny because that's a funny story behind it because you fought when they came here. You fought her.
I fought with her.
You fought with her dad
on the circuit.
Card.
Yeah, IFC. Yep, and we stayed in touch, and then he was like, I want to send my daughter out there, and I said, man, she's more than welcome, and we set it up and got her out here, and
she's there every day.
She's probably the best wrestler we got.
She's there every day grinding. I see her every day,
and she's very tough, man. It's in her bloodlines, she's Hawaiian, so Ron Jun, that's her father. Jesus is Lord crew back in the day, man, out of Hawaii. Those were the first team from Hawaii. Now you look at Hawaii's history, the champs they've crowned, and we're talking about a small populace. You're talking about just tough son of a bitches out there, man. They just throw down on the beach all the time. They're mentally tough, just like Brazilians, Russians, Albuquerqueans, like it's the same thing, man. It's that toughness.
We're our own little country over here.
The environment raises you, the environment raises you.
For sure.
And West Mesa.
The West Mesa crew.
And I think being here and seeing how much success this team had over the years, it just people want to be associated with it. I always say that it's like the little haven, like for people. It's like I have future, I have goals, I have the team behind me, I have good vibes. Like you'll see people that just like that just disappear. Even like Donald Sanchez, he was like having his whatever problems, and then he comes back, and talk to me, and he walks in, and I'm like, Donald, what are you doing? You haven't been here for a while, and then this is where you belong and stuff. And then the next day he's like, man, I miss that place so much. He's back every day on the mats again.
It's tough, man, and that's why it's one of the reasons why I've tried, man. I've tried to walk away from it. I went out to be a policeman. I went out to be a fireman.
I didn't know that.
And it just keeps calling me back, man. I have 25 years of fighting experience in what I've experienced. I used to box as a youth too. I was 16-0 as an amateur boxer, 15 KOs, 4-time regional champ, out of Farmington. When I was a kid, me and my brother, because I grew up in a predominantly Latino community, West Side Albuquerque. We used to take those long tube socks and we'd wrap a tube sock around our hand like this, and then put another tube sock on, and we would box.
Old school raps.
We would box for our family. We're just two boys, just aunts and uncles, and then I would fight my cousin. It was just part of
who you are,
of your culture, part of your upbringing. So fighting to me was never a traumatic experience. To me, it was always just a normal part of life. Some people backstage have traumatic emotional experiences. Some people elevate, some people perform under. For me, fighting was always just like training. It was really not that big of a deal.
Work.
That's it. Just a little bit more. The only thing that always got me was just the unknown. You would be main event, co-main, and you're watching all these dudes warm up, and then one at a time, one guy comes back pumped, no scratches, he just won, he's jumping up and down, he's excited. Another guy gets carted back with oxygen on, another guy just got knocked out, and it's like, how the fuck am I gonna come back? Like, how am I gonna come back? That unknown is the driving force behind fighting. It's like shit, we got to go find out how I come back here, So
I've always wondered if it was something to do with where people grew up, like in Albuquerque, for example. We got the east side, the west side, the valley, whatever. But it's not really true, because like you, for example, came from the west side. Obviously, you're very successful. But Diego Sanchez is from the
Del
Norte, yep, which is right in the kind of up in the heights, and then Holly and Holly from Manzano, which is about far east as you can go. So it doesn't really matter the way you grew up or the part of town you grew up in. It's just that drive that you just want to be a fighter, and,
yep,
and that's it.
And when you look at it, like even Holly, being the blonde-haired, grew up in a Christian home, like she grew up in the environment of Albuquerque. And look at Coach Winklejohn, same thing, the environment of Albuquerque, and that is, when people walk the streets out here, they realize that it's kind of a tough community. Even if you're not constantly exposed to it, you still know of it, and there's just something about it that keeps people on alert, competitive at a super high level, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you look at the state, our rankings, we're low in a lot of things because of our poverty.
We're dead last in a lot of
because of our poverty, and is it by coincidence the #1 fighting school in the world is from here too? No, not by coincidence, because the environment, even with people like John Dotson, Holly, Diego, myself, Damasio Page, we all have this thing in common, and that was we were raised in this environment. You go to other cities and other places. Albuquerque's its own little universe.
Well, it's not like
go
Holly,
somewhere else, you have options. Here, it's like, okay, well, pretty much.
And it's not like Holly can use the excuse that she was bullied in school, because she was in a predominantly white school, blonde, blue-eyed, girl, whereas Greg Jackson said he was bullied being the blonde, blue-eyed guy at the
one of two white dudes at Rio Grande. Yeah,
exactly.
And Wink was just a badass, I guess.
But you look at this, like Holly joined because of kickboxing aerobics, right? Yeah. And then that turned into what the competitive nature of herself, anyways. And then who was her guidance the whole time? Wink. Yeah. And that's one of the toughest son of a guns that you'll ever meet.
Tell me, how were they like back in the day, man? Like, what type of people
we know them in the past 5-6 years or so.
Well,
when you first met them, when you first back
in 2000,
how did they evolve? What type of man were they back in the day? It's kind of cool.
Wink and
Greg.
The first time that I had met Greg, I had heard of this team. I heard of how incredible they are, me and my buddy, and I was expecting a real intimidating feller in Greg Jackson, because I'd never seen him before. And let me just say, the internet wasn't really predominant just yet, right?
Exactly.
So you couldn't just Google a picture Jackson or anything, So I was looking for I was looking for, at this King of the Cage event. I knew they were going to be there, and I was looking for this guy. And when I actually met Greg, he was so nice.
He's a nice man.
I was like, I couldn't trust it. My instincts were like, there's nobody this nice.
Yeah.
In the
There's
fight,
no,
in the fight
there
world.
is nobody this nice, And I remember going training down there, and his guys were animals. I mean, Diego and Keith and Seals and some of these great grapplers he had. A lot of people don't realize that Greg Jackson's grappling system was the best grappling system on this side of the country. We used to go to tournaments and win #1 team trophies, dominate the circuit with grappling because of his style of grappling.
Wow. What was different about that time?
It was the jiu-jitsu. When you were teaching Americans jiu-jitsu, a lot of the jiu-jitsu instructors were teaching them knowing it was a business and not grinding them to the mat, not punishing them.
That makes sense.
So Greg and the group of people he had were punishing, grinding. We're doing hill sprints.
He wasn't doing it as a business.
We're going to smash. Yeah, he wasn't doing it as a
fight business. Yeah.
So when all these people were competing, when they faced us, they'd never felt any kind of intensity like that before.
Foolish,
you know,
angry, and
Diego
carries it with him till now.
To this day, yes. But me, Diego, Keith, a lot of our guys were just grappling like intensity. It wasn't that we were stylistically more skilled than these guys, but we were more aggressive, right?
It's like even now when I wore with Diego, I walk out, man, I feel like I was put through a meat grinder. I was like, shit, everything hurts.
So
then we got invited to start going to Wink's kickboxing school, and Wink had some world champions there, along with him being a 2-time world champ himself.
And with Bill Packer,
and under Bill Packer, no, he had his own gym.
He'd already started his own by then.
And Bill Packer was known for creating and having champs, and he was a great coach from here. But the kickboxing community wasn't as huge as MMA was turning out to be, right? Yeah, but then we as MMA guys were going to Wink school fighting pro boxers and pro kickboxers. So you had to get good. You just had to get good. And we used to always invite them bastards to come grapple with us, but they never came. They never came. They would try kicking us in the head.
Because a lot of people
body shotting us, but they
didn't believe in grappling back then.
Yeah, they didn't want to. It was their pride, man. They didn't want to get beat. It's funny how that the MMA guys will step up. They'll go do kickboxing. Yeah. They'll step up, go do pro boxing. They'll step up and do grappling tournaments. But all those other people won't step up and come do what we do because
it's like
they
Mayweather,
understand.
the whole Mayweather debate, exactly.
Because they understand, I just can't compete with you at that level. But
I've just never been there.
But they can't swallow their pride, They just can't. So MMA always trumps, man. You can have a mediocre MMA guy that's a mediocre star, and he can beat a world class boxer. And a lot of boxers will get upset about it, but man, when you don't know how to takedown defense, you're gonna get beaten up in the real world.
People have no idea how demoralizing it is, man. They take it down and feeling that pressure.
They've never felt anything like it before because they've never tried it. That's
of
it.
Course, that's it. Right. I mean, there's no question. It's the same thing. If MMA guy going strictly boxing, it's.
I guess they kind of proved that point with CM Punk. I mean, I don't know CM Punk or his background or anything, but he tried to get into the MMA world, and it ended up being a very big mistake for him. He wasn't ready for what the intensity that MMA is.
A lot of people come from other sports and think, I'll just do this. There's no way you can get your wrestling in a year, to that level
with the
talent.
CM Punk thing, they were trying to get the right matchup, right? They didn't want a dud, but they didn't want somebody that was going to go out there and look like crap.
But then they gave him this badass grappler.
What happened was
at least they should have given someone
They kept stalling.
They should have
hurt. This and that, like they should
have given someone who can throw down, because there's no way you can learn grappling. Like I mean, you give him Mickey Gale, which is a fucking phenomenal grappler, man. Like coming from
Mickey Gale's not like this incredible like Damian Maia. He's just a basic MMA guy,
coming in from Jim Miller and stuff.
Incredible against this guy,
At least they should have given him someone who just want to throw down, sloppy striker.
Don't put him up against Brian. What's his name? name?
Like
Matt.
Like Matt.
Huh?
Cup Swanson.
yeah. That would be perfect match.
Well, Mayweather. Yeah, put him up. Everyone talks about the Mayweather fight.
I
with
think
CM
Matt
Punk.
would beat them up, though.
Yeah.
Matt would beat them up.
He's
Even
calling
like
him
I
out.
say, take any amateur here, like a decent level amateur from here, they'll beat up.
I have some amateurs that that I've been coaching since they first got here, and I'm really excited to see what they turn into. You know.
Yeah,
really excited.
We
man.
are as well.
I got a busy month coming up, man. I got Yana next weekend.
Yeah.
And then 2 weekends later, I'm going to be in Arizona with 5 of our amateurs. And then the weekend after that, Dom Waters. And then the weekend after that, Levon, his first pro fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've been
There's
doing a lot of
always
traveling.
something.
So finally hitting the road.
You're back to the bus drives.
And that's what we always talked about, is like how do you manage that type of demand? Because that's why, like, it's not that easy when you have so many guys fighting and so many guys coming in, and then you have to take care of all of them, and then you need other coaches. You need lower level coaches, high level coaches, backup coaches, this type of coaches, and it's not that easy to find that many, but we were doing okay.
For years, you can ask Greg and Wink, and they've been preparing me to be a head coach, just because we're watching and just seeing how busy Greg is. You know, the coach that we have here, the next person in line that can kind of plug into Greg's system is me, because of my MMA experience. Like we've got wrestling coaches, we've got great grappling coaches, we've got individual coaches, like a striking coach or this coach. I'm kind of real similar to Greg, not as great as Greg, of course, because Greg's got thousands and thousands of fights. He was my coach, but the similarities are there, and that is that we can tie those things together. We can understand how to tie those things together, you know, and you know, I've been offered jobs other places, but I want to keep it here. I started it here. I want to keep it here. I want to keep this tradition here, you know.
Home.
And so you hear that Team Alpha Male or whoever that's trying to steal Joey, it's not going to happen.
You ain't getting Joe.
Yeah, no, I'm not going, man. Albuquerque's home, man. Like, you know, I mean, you never know. Like, the sport can be as huge in like NFL, you know, and well, then you hear about $1 million.
You'll be a free agent.
Yeah, like then maybe maybe the Wink in me will come out.
Businessman.
And let me just say,
and we all know what you're talking about.
Let me just say first off that Coach Winklejohn probably was the most impactful person outside of fighting. Like, that guy always, you know, was like, hey, what are you doing with your money?
Yeah,
hey,
I was about to say
you're going to retire. Yeah. Hey, what are you going to do after? Like, ever since I became his student, that man is always
thinking of the future.
Told me about and about head trauma and about concussions, and he literally saw a man die in a kickboxing fight. He saw a guy get knocked out that ended up dying that evening, you know, and I can only and Wink had been knocked out before too. Like, what a lot of people don't realize is that
the man lost his eye.
We put our health on the line, and a lot of people don't seem to understand that. You know that
they just want to sit there and talk crap.
They want to make a meme of somebody. You know, they want to make a meme and make fun of somebody when the effects of that are still unknown for MMA, right? Exactly. We're still collecting the data. There's a lot of times that I forget simple things like names of people that I have known for years, you know, simple things like names and how to write the word
let me tell you something.
Simple stuff, you know?
I do the same thing, but it's not because I was a fighter, it's because I'm old.
So that's where it kind of like where is that with me? Like I'm 42 now, you know, but I know that you kind of lose a little bit, but I wonder how much of it is from trauma.
Yeah,
from
CTE is a real thing. They've proved that, and you did get hit in the head.
I tell you don't show signs yet.
Well, I see.
I'll tell you if I see some.
I know a couple of fighters that have been fighting a little bit longer than they should, and some boxers, and you can definitely see
the impact.
Those.
Yeah, the words start getting slurred, and they get that stare.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
I mean, Wink lost an eye, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost an eye. Yeah, you see his eye, another eye watering all the time. He's always like, because obviously, I couldn't even imagine, like, even if I close the eye and I walk around
and
like this.
within 2 weeks, the guy was with a patch on his eye, working.
Really?
Right now, let me just say he was working, and because he was indebted to his students, and that's giving your life to something.
Were you here when that happened?
Yeah, I was. I wasn't there that night, but when I came in, I was fighting, and I was like, "Holy shit, man! No way!" And within 2 weeks, that guy was back on the mats, like, and he was like, "Deal with me," like he was a little disoriented, and he was still working.
So gangster.
Still working, like
man is a legend, man.
He's the hardest working human being. So when I'm here grinding, because everybody knows that I'm here all day and 6 lessons, 2 to 3 classes a day, like I'm here, and I think about Coach Wink, and I think about what he did. And I'm like, damn, I can't be a pussy. Come on,
Greg and Wink are so yin yang.
They build something really special.
They're
for,
such opposites
for all of us. And then, like we always say, the man of chances, giving chances to so many people. Man.
Yeah, Greg is by far like the leader of the ship, man. He's like a general, when you look at Greg's heroes, he truly emulates those men, and he understands, like, what a lot of people don't understand is that every individual fighter is different on how you approach them. You can't approach the same fighter with the repeated same quotes, and that's one thing that he understood about me. One thing what he understands about all of his athletes. What you're gonna say to Holly, you maybe can't say to Michelle, or how you motivate one over the other. You have to treat them within their realm of personality, and you have to know that individual.
I was taking some pictures of some training of Yana yesterday, and the dream team was there except for you.
Yeah.
Obviously you have other obligations, but it's funny you mentioned that about Greg and Wink, because Greg was he's always that guy when they simulate rounds, and in the corner she's sitting there just hyper and tired, and Greg is so good at bringing her down. Breathe. Think of go to your happy place.
You're okay. Yeah.
I think he's like.
And then
this
Wink jumps in and says, "Knock her damn head off."
Yep.
And I think he's like this in all aspects of life, because I got to know him for a while now too, and like whatever we're going through, our issues, and stuff like that. He just has that effect on people that he just sits you down. Listen, Mish, this is how it is. This is how it is, and then it just like.
It goes
penetrates
away.
you. It's like
how can you deny like the thousands of MMA fights, that the experience that man has, that he was not pompous about it. He's not arrogant about it. Yeah. He just clearly will say something to you that
just penetrates your brain.
Instant, the truth, man. It's the truth.
It's instant gratification.
We're
like, you know what? Thanks, Greg.
We talk about
and you just absorb the information. And you move on forward, and exactly what he said is exactly what it is, and exactly
simple one-liner.
It worked.
Simple one-liner,
and it worked.
We're
just like he sees you all like riled up. He's like, Greg, this shit's happening. Man, I can't believe they're attacking us, this and that. Boom.
Yeah, me and Misha talk about this all the time. We get so stressed out because we're on a bit of a losing streak. We're on a bit of a losing streak right now, and we talk to Greg. It
wasn't like solid that people bring up like this lone ass losing. It wasn't like this.
Well, that's what he says. He says, guys, listen. This it goes in waves. We win a bunch, we lose a bunch, we win some, we lose some. It's a cycle. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then the way he says it just makes everybody like, oh, our blood pressure goes down.
We've been there before,
exactly.
And the thing
he's seen it all,
and that we'll get through. It's not like the ship is burning and people are jumping off. It's not like that at all. But it's. We've had a lot of damn close fights that didn't go our way, that I thought we'd won, but
this past weekend's a perfect example.
But what can you do about it, man? Like I have personally 2 fights in my MMA career that I know I won, but I was in somebody else's house and it got pulled from me, And you understand that as an athlete, that when you take a fight against somebody in their home state, and that company really is backing them, you've got to do more than the average. You got to. So you understand those things, you know, and that's just the way this sport is. I've had fights taken from me that I won, and it pissed me off, but I understand that's the sport, man.
And it's in every other sport too.
Every
you
sport,
know, you know, you have close things like that. You know, judges, refs, and you know, people see it different ways. Sometimes ref will call something that then no one agrees with, and it's a common. It's a common issue, and the same thing with this sport. It's just the only problem with this is that you are only you in the middle of the cage, and all the bright lights are on you. You know, everyone watching you. So any mistake that you make, you know, you can't hide behind anything else but yourself.
That's it.
You know, and that people don't realize what it's like. Like Cowboy, did you see that video that he did, that interview before the fight? About that feeling walking out. It's
That's true, man. And
no, bitch, I gotta fight.
Like everybody wants.
Cowboy, you're gonna kill him. No, I gotta fight.
Everybody thinks they're helping you out by saying, "Oh, you're gonna murder this guy. You're gonna win," but they don't realize they're adding pressure to you.
Good luck.
You know? Yeah. Nobody's like, "Hey, man." Nobody's like, "Hey, Godspeed." You know, like they're all like, "Murder him, kill him, knock him out."
It's normal. Because you have to look at the people too that are surround that fighter. Because obviously, you know, we want to encourage you, we want to say the right things, but we don't truly, you know, you don't know what type of
look at the people Cowboy surrounds himself with, man. Good-hearted, good people. You know, solid people.
Good positive energy.
Positive energy. Nothing but positive energy.
And then he brings Greg up to the ranch to kind of. To bring it all together.
Yeah.
I don't know what he charges. Greg charges to go up there. And but, hey, we want to do something fun now here with you, Joey. We a couple of weeks ago we had our Winks Gym tournament held here at the Pro Gym, and it was super cool because the kids got to train at the big Pro Gym in the environment of the champs, you know, and being an amateur coach and all your experience, we kind of wanted your perspective on some of these kids and what they're doing, what kind of mistakes they're making, what they're doing good,
this is funny because that probably be like our 10th generation.
Yeah, this is a blueprint of things.
You'll be teaching.
So here we got this. There's no sound on this, but we got these two kids going at it here.
Right. Kid in the camel pants.
Coach Henry is.
He's got some good.
Now, no strikes to the face, right? That's why they're protecting the body,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
You can totally tell that all of their hands are low because they're not protecting their face, right?
He's throwing some good legs.
Okay, so here we got another one here.
Right, bigger kids.
Yep. Yeah, they got those.
That kid that
keeping his hands up.
That kid in the green got punched once and then stopped. Was like, oh shoot, it's for real.
Yeah, this hurts.
Real.
Yeah, he got punched in the stomach.
And then it was real. Yep. Nice kick. Guy's going for a counter. He's just looking for the counter to the body.
Yeah, he's going forward now. Yeah. And then he gets a kick.
It's cool, man. I had a lot of when I ran Greg's school for a couple of years. We used to do the same thing with our kids, but we let them hit each other.
We got some girls here. We got a girl here.
Well, girls are usually most aggressive because they have to prove something. Girls are usually more
girls are by far way more aggressive.
Even our pros or Emmys, when you watch them, you're like, Jesus Christ, man, you want to kill each other? Why?
Well, our producer, his daughter was competing.
There she is.
She is, yeah.
She just knocked down that boy.
Yeah, we got to replay this. Okay, watch this. Let's see if we can. Boom!
So she met the boy threw the lead kick or something, and she punched him in the stomach. And she moved forward and punched him in the stomach.
Punch. Yeah, the kid was kicking on one leg, punched.
She did. No, she threw it right to his body.
While they were kicking.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's what got him.
Got the momentum. That is so cool.
See again?
Yeah, we'll just.
It was actually way perfect time and punch placed. Boom.
Boom.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
She's gangster. She just stands there. She's ready to go. Get up. Get up.
She even started walking towards to do the ground and pound. I was a proud of that.
Nick was like, no. But yes, do it. That's awesome. No, these kids had a lot of fun.
That's cool, man.
And then we got one more here. With their little Winks Gym outfits.
I'm trying to catch a
Those
kick.
tip kicks. Boom, right. Oh, he felt that.
Nope.
Jabbing and crossing.
No, so cool though.
That's the future generation.
But that's it starts there. That's where their passion has now started at this age.
Really.
I guarantee their goals are now to get to his gym and probably
I've
10,
get their
15
picture
years
on the wall.
Yeah.
When I was coaching children, there's a huge influence from the parents. Some of these kids, you can tell which kids wanted to be there and which kids were forced to be
That's
there.
like every sport. You notice that with every sport.
Every sport,
Baseball,
the
football,
parents, like
wrestling.
I had a friend who was an extraordinary wrestler, but his dad was so hard on him about wrestling that he just said, forget you, and he quit.
Wow.
The year he was
that's
supposed to
horrible.
win state, he quit because he got tired of his dad pushing him so
It's too much
much
pressure, yeah.
And then you see this talent and it can burn out. If there's a passion for it, if you love it, you'll stick with it. But if people are pressing you and pushing you into something you don't like and something you don't want to do, when you finally feel like you're old enough to make your own decisions, you'll step away from it.
It's almost like that parent is trying to relive their childhood through their
kids.
child.
Like
and,
Same thing I'm going
exactly.
with my son, actually. Same thing, man. He won everything there is to win, but he's like, seems to like.
he doesn't want to be. He wants to be a football player
Yeah,
now.
he
Nope.
wants, I'm like, man, but I'm like,
And
let's
that's
do both.
and that's it, man. Like when you look at kids, when they're little, when they first start walking, they will gravitate towards their natural likes. Like they'll gravitate towards the Hot Wheel, or they'll gravitate towards the ball, or they'll gravitate towards the doll, or the Legos. They'll gravitate to those things that they are naturally drawn towards.
Well,
Me, when I was a kid, I was always gravitating towards sports things, always. And my brother was always gravitating towards like cars and shit, and Hot Wheels.
I think
and,
my son is
and-
gravitating towards money. It's like wrestling, no money, football, oh, shitload of money.
Yeah.
I say, okay, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I said, do at least wrestling, because majority of very high successful pro football players are former wrestlers, collegiate wrestlers, high school wrestlers. So they go good together. So I always
You'll see, man. They'll like. The kids will let you know what they want,
Sure.
And I'm totally for putting your kids in things, keeping them active, but they'll make a decision to say, you know what, I like playing the flute better than I like grappling, or I like both, or
Now you're telling a Russian this.
no, don't give them an idea.
They don't. They're not
flute.
built that
No
way.
flutes.
the flute.
No band camp for me.
The
The
violin.
violin.
He's playing the violin.
From a
Russian-
badass high school wrestler to
It's a
whatever, man,
Stravosky.
to,
It's
like,
a
freaking-
Russian violin.
Dad,
though.
I changed my mind. I think I'm leaning towards playing the piano.
That's funny.
Fuck
So
that.
what's next? Are we assembling an amateur team for the
Yeah,
next
w-
tournament?
You said
or-
Arizona. What is that? Is that the same?
Arizona's it's not the team thing. I just
Oh,
have a
it's
lot
just-
of amateurs.
yeah, I know
going.
Justin's going back.
We made impression, I guess, over there.
Yep.
Right? They called
And
us
Justin,
back.
Justin is
Justin's the other
Justin has improved so much.
God, I
and,
love that
and,
kid.
and what I love about Justin is he's always cleaning the mats. He's such
I
a
was
team
just
player,
about to
man.
say that.
I don't even have to tell the
He's a
kid,
sweetheart.
and he starts cleaning the mats.
Always smiling.
Someone
polite.
put out a poll
Yeah.
over on our secret group
The
the other
best,
day. Who's the nicest guy in the
nicest
gym?
guy.
And it was
It's hard to
Jordan
pick. We got a bunch.
Justin.
We
We do,
got,
but
Justin
but
is
Justin-
one of
Justin
them.
and Brogan.
Justin
yeah.
got my
Justin
vote
is
just
top
because-
3.
Justin
Yeah.
got my vote because he cleans those damn mats.
And
I-
he got my votes too because he cleans the mats.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I don't even have to ask him; he
Yeah, he
just
does.
does it. And he's such a team player, man. Justin's he's always cleaning those mats.
He's always positive, man. Always
and
with a
then,
smile.
let's see.
Respectful.
We have a
And he works his ass off. He does a job.
He has a job
And
right
Jake
across-
Jake Tanaka too. He's
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
he's got a fight coming up. 2 of them coming up, and Jake he's tough, man. Jake is tough. He's
He's a black belt in judo, man.
explosive.
Wow.
He's tough.
So that's another one we got to watch.
yeah.
Yeah, Jake,
He'll be on the squad this year too. Justin again,
Nice.
Jake, trying to get Nick on it because we're gonna lose a couple. We're gonna lose Keenan. We're probably gonna lose
It's Cooper.
Coop probably.
yeah.
I don't know if Coop's gonna go pro, and I'd still like to see Coop get a few more in. Ride that high, and then of course Ash. We got Ash, so Ash probably at 70.
at that level, an amateur, I don't think anyone can match Cooper's wrestling, bro. This kid,
No.
I mean, he beats the crap out of pros,
Coop
man.
made some changes too in his first MMA fight. Well,
He's a
he had
tip-
that quick KO,
Yeah.
and then his second one at the Jackson series, he wasn't as active with the ground and pound. He was more wrestler based, and then in the third one, I was like, "Yo, Coop, we when we take him down, we got to punish him while they're down there." And then he just ground and pounded hard in that
He's a
third one.
Division One.
Just never know with
wrestler,
these
man.
kids.
Like,
Look at
when-
Randy.
Yeah.
Randy, man, you were teaching other people off of Randy what Randy did with that kick.
Yeah,
Remember that
the kick.
that
Yeah,
sent the kick,
I
that
was in-
send out the opponents flying over the.
I was instructing that kick probably about a month before that, you know, and then I saw
that's
Randy
funny.
land it, and then I made it an example as how
Look, it
how
works.
efficient it could work. Yeah, how efficient it is, you know.
Yeah, he sent the kid flying from across
Yeah,
the cage.
yeah,
Just
and
boom.
now
in the third round.
I think he was working with Frank on that, and he landed it either or. I'm just glad that he landed it. You know, like that was an explosive kick, man. Like couldn't stop it coming. Randy's like a freight train, you know, like with a smile.
I just saw him doing rounds with
and,
Diego.
and everybody was saying he doesn't belong here. That's what kind of bugged me.
Yeah,
from
he
his
was the
era.
original.
You know what?
resident.
If you have heart and if you show will and determination, I don't care what skill set you're at, you'll always be welcome around me and the
Exactly.
people that I endorse, and the people, because they become an example of what hard work and dedication is.
What's what
You know,
Randy
I don't
showed.
care about it winning and losing with people who just show their heart and their will. All we can ask of everybody and anybody is to just do their best. Now, of course, we want the dub, right?
All right, yeah.
But winning,
we can't get 'em all.
winning at that level isn't just based off of the student, because there's judges. There's people that can take the fight from you. You can think
Easily.
you won and get that fight
Yeah,
taken
like
from
with
you.
Timur. Remember a while ago, Timur when he
All
fought
you-
that
the only
Gutierrez?
thing you can do is just
Every
perform
single
at your best, man.
best route, and everyone had Timur winning on every card. Everyone was, I'd say, he's going to get his hand raised, and the other guy
Oh,
get
Tebow this past weekend.
Yeah.
Marcin.
And then they find out that the judge has no experience. The one that judged against Timur was against home guy. There's so many factors that people don't. That she been corrupted many ways. There's like huge articles about it that people that don't even know why she should be judged and stuff like that. And people don't understand how many factors fall into play when it goes like
Well,
that.
before we wrap it up, I want to give a couple shout-outs to our sponsors. We have our longtime sponsor, CBD Boutique, which is what's your thinking on CBD? Have you?
I actually just started taking CBD probably about 5 months ago.
Good.
And I'm an advocate for it. I'm looking forward to the advancements in it. You know, I think it's going to be just like kind of how creatine is a basic sports supplement. I think that CBD will be a basic diet for athletes in all sports.
And recovery, yeah, exactly.
It brings a point, because remember how we always say that CBD started when Nate Diaz pulled out his steak after the burger and started smoking it. Well, coming back to this week, he pulled out
But
actual
he
doobie.
pulled
and
out-
smoked
pulled
it,
out a
so
real one this
I
time.
think it's coming where we're going to have weed literally available and
He's a
legal.
pioneer with
you know,
legalizing things.
legalized. So we might see Nate Diaz making.
You know,
history here.
I'm an advocate of
There's nothing wrong with it.
of you know, weed
It's
doesn't
grass.
it doesn't it doesn't make your performance better, man. It just what it does is, for some people with their social anxieties. I don't know if you guys have ever met Nick Diaz. He's a great guy, but he has social anxieties, man. He's got legitimate anxieties, and if that plant helps him out, man, I'm all for it. You know, it's a plant. It's not like
who are we to
it's not a
judge
It's like,
steroid.
it's like why? I mean, we drink coffee, right? That's a natural. You're drinking right now.
Yep.
That's a natural performance enhancer.
Yep,
You can't
caffeine.
you can't to drink with that, right? So
Yep.
what's the difference with weed?
Yep,
It just
exactly.
makes, you know?
Oh, I mean, some people may frown upon it, but in my opinion, it's not hinging any fights in any direction, you know. And
not
I
at
think
all.
that's where the fine line stands with.
Actually,
in
it might slow you.
athletics.
It might slow you down. Actually,
Well, the people that frown upon it are taking big pharma stuff, and of course that gets spread. You don't want to take marijuana; it's illegal. You take Adderall or whatever else.
Oxy.
Oxy. So
White-
take
white
that stuff.
death.
It's so much better, you know. So, but that's one of the problems with why it has such a negative impact. And Big Pharma has the money to say whatever they want
Yep.
and,
yeah,
and
just
sway
like
the opinions.
NRA.
Yep.
But speaking of
let's go to the next
NRA.
sponsor.
Another sponsor we have is Fireteam Fit, which is a locally owned weight belt maker that they're selling thousands of these things online. I think you got one at
Yep.
he came in the other day and was passing them out, and there's some of the most comfortable belts out there for weightlifters that and not just weightlifters but anyone that's doing weight training. So
And everyone likes their liquid chalk for
Yeah.
lifting.
But shout out to those guys for bringing a good product into the gym, and Joey,
local business, which
we-
we support
yeah.
each other. Local
support
business.
support your local businesses. Yes, definitely support your local team. Jackson Wink. Watch us this weekend, UFC 222. Watch Joey in the corner. Watch us. We'll do some updates along the way. We'll post some cool pictures.
I mean, I just gotta say, man, when Yana wins, it's gonna be the craziest, biggest upset compared to Ronda Rousey.
then
We'll have the two female upsets.
Mhm.
You know, in
That
the sport of MMA,
just
and both blonde.
to have that
then
to have
they're
that
gonna-
potential, man, to have that just to have the opportunity for that to happen, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's
They
an amazing.
just-
I'm so happy for Yana because
too.
of where she's come from, what she leaves behind to come here and pursue her dream,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, she's the sweetest,
She-
nicest.
so humble
But
and quiet.
she's
and just,
such an animal, you know, and that's all we want is just to see that competitive animal, you
well,
know.
she will
and
be
that's it.
she'll be the fourth member of this gym to fight Cyborg, and we're looking forward to it. So tune in, UFC 222, March 3rd, right around the corner. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks, Joey, for joining us. And,
My pleasure.
We're going to let you get back to your practice and your day, and we will see you all next time.
Let's do this. See ya.
All right, man. See you guys. Thanks.
Through these doors walk the greatest fighters in the world.